Hey guys, so today I'm doing my October wrap up. I can't believe it's already the end of October. I feel like I just did my TBR video like last week. So it's been kind of chaotic. I'm leading up to exams for uni at the moment, so it's been pretty hectic and I can't wait until it's over and it's summertime. Just to get into my wrap up for the month, the first book I read was a reread. You've heard me talk about this before, so I'm not going to linger on it, but reread this, have to write an exam on it in a couple weeks. Feeling pretty nervous about that. The next book that I read was Warning Signs by Stephen White. This was on my TBR. Actually, all the rest of the books were. This was one of the ones that I hadn't read, so I decided to start with one that I hadn't read. So it's kind of a crime thriller sort of book, I guess, and it's from the perspective of a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I can't remember, and his wife is a lawyer, and then all his friends are in like law enforcement. They're police officers and detectives and stuff, so it was a really interesting sort of premise, and there's a lot of different things going on with different people in his life, including himself, that all end up linking together. So one of his patients mentions something, like she's worried about her son, and then that kind of links to a murder of like a district attorney, and that links in, like it draws in obviously his wife as a lawyer, and it draws in the police officer friends of his and stuff as well. So it kind of all comes together in this crazy storyline. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to spoil the plot for anyone who would like to read this book, but it was really gripping. It took a lot of directions that I didn't kind of expect it to take, and it's not so much like a mystery thriller kind of thing because you kind of know what's going on the whole time. It's more just a matter of like, are they gonna catch the person that's doing these things? How is it all gonna link together in the end, and how is each person involved in all that kind of thing. So it was really good in that way. And my favorite thing about this book was the character development. All of the characters in this were so strong, and it was firstly fantastic to see it from the psychologist's point of view. It's very different, I think, than reading it from like a police officer's point of view or something. He's definitely got a different sort of outlook on things, and he seemed just very human and like very real. He wasn't super, I'm a psychologist, I know everything. Like, he was still kind of in the dark on a lot of stuff, which I just really liked that. And yeah, so I liked him as a character, and then also the like villain in this book was a really interesting character as well. And I think just everyone in this, there was like no one who was purely good or purely bad or anything like that. Everyone was kind of a mixed bag of different human traits and stuff. So this book was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun read, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next one I read was Buried Prey by John Sandford. This is another crime sort of novel and another one that I hadn't read. I'm glad that I read this one too. It was fun and quite gripping to read. Like, it's one of those books where you just want to find out what happens in the end. Like, I had to keep reading and keep reading to find out what happened. Like, these two books I kind of read within a few days of each other, and it was really fun. This one is from a police detective's like point of view, but it's all in third person, so it's a little bit different. This one, the other one by the way, had elements of third person, but it was mostly in first person. This one was all in the third person, but sort of followed the police detective guy. And the storyline is basically that back when he first sort of was starting out in the police force, 2 girls went missing and their bodies were never found. And then it jumps to, I think it's like 25 years later, they find the girls' bodies, and this guy is still in the police force and that kind of thing, so he kind of is like back on the case again, trying to find out who killed these girls. And the whole thing is that, just like that storyline, trying to find out what happened. So there's a little bit from back like 25 years ago when he was younger, and then it is in his like present day life as well. So this was a really great like gripping sort of story as well. Really enjoyed it. There were just a few things that I didn't like about it. Firstly was just that it was really crude. There were just a lot of like crude kind of humor and crude language, and it was honestly quite misogynistic in parts. And I know some people will just be like, oh, it's just what the character's like, but like, it's one of those books where there are no women in it, and there are a couple women in it, but pretty much like all the women that they mention have had sex with the male lead. So to me, that's not like having a woman character. So yeah, there were things I didn't like about it, like those kind of things. And then the ending, to be honest, was a bit crap. Didn't like the ending. It was very like all too convenient, and just, you know, it reminded me kind of of an episode of Jeremy Kyle when they're sitting down and they're like, you know, just the little blurb about like what it's about, like this happens and then that turns out to be this other thing, and it's like completely like outlandish and like what. That was kind of what the ending of this book was like. There's like a really bad way to explain it, but it was, yeah, not the best ending, but the story captured me. It was interesting despite it being a bit crude at times, and despite the ending being a bit rubbish. I really enjoyed reading this. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The final book I read, or actually I'm still reading it, but I'm filming this at like the 25th of October or something, so I've still got a few days left. So I'm definitely going to finish this, but it's Frankenstein by Mary W. Shelley. I've read this before, so this is another reread for me. I read it at some point when I was in high school, really enjoyed it, so stoked to be rereading it again. And even just from how little I've read so far, I had completely forgotten like what happens, but it's really captivating, and from the beginning it really draws you into the story, so I can't wait to finish reading this. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that is all of the books that I read this month. Not a whole lot, but as I said, I'm coming up to exams and then it's over for the year for a little while, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this wrap up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I upload every Tuesday and Friday, so twice a week. And I would love it if you would follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well, which are linked down below. You can also check out my other YouTube channel down there. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time with another video.